Hello everybody. I don't have a physical carving to show you, so we're going to be doing this one right here. Hello Jeff and Jane. Hello. We're going to wait a little bit until we get some more people in here. And I'm already marking my block here, so we'll get ready to go here in a little bit. Alright. So, hello everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Alright. There's our block here. So let's push this down. Hello Trent. You found us. Okay. Hello Jack and Jenny. Happy New Year everybody. Happy New Year. 2021 has to be better than last year. So we'll see what happens here. Hello Jim and Beth. Hello Dale. Let's give it a couple more seconds. I'm a little bit later. Let me get my thumbs wrapped up here before I start. I hope everybody had a safe New Year's. And we'll see what this year brings. I plan to do a couple more different rocks here as we go. And I'm just wrapping up my thumbs before I actually have to wrap them if I cut them. So what I usually put is this this flexible self-taping thing here. Okay, that's what I usually use. I use them on both thumbs. So this is going to take a little while to do. So if you want to come in and out of the show, that's fine. I got my hot chocolate ready, and let me get started here. This is the one we're going to do. I don't actually have it because I sold it. And because I sold it, I don't have something to show you or to go by. So we're going to have to kind of do this from scratch. So that is the one we're going to be doing. It's this one right here. All right, this is a winter snowman that hello Rhonda, that I've done. You can also change a couple things. I do like this red one better in some ways. You can do a red one. You can do the blue one. And this is really the size, roughly, what it'll be like. This is one of my older ones, my sitting Santas that I did some time ago. A one-eye Santa. So we're going to put 2 eyeballs on this one. And we're going to start by coming down about 1/8 of an inch. So let me just put that back there. About a quarter of an inch down. Okay. We're going to put a line all the way across. And you know, it doesn't hurt to put a line across the top to keep you centralized here. Just make a cross here from one corner to the other. Pick a corner you want to start with. Really, since Valentine's Day is actually like, I don't know, 5-6 weeks away. I have lost count. We're going to do a couple of Valentine things. This is the first one we're going to do. And you can add whatever you want here. But we're going to put a heart on. And hello, Donna and Henny. So we will go ahead and do that with a heart. So it's for Valentine's Day. You can put anything written on it if you want. It's up to you. So let's get started because this is going to take us a while. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come down. We're kind of figure out where the top tassel part's going to be. This is all going to be removed anyway. And then down here, we're going to bring this down just like you do with the Santa hats. All right? Like a little bit of an S shape. And same thing over here. And then you're going to come back here. You're just going to meet the 2. That's all you're going to do here. And we're going to do each corner first. All right. So we got a good crowd today. I guess everybody's kind of locked up. Okay, so what we want to be careful when we do it, since the nose is going to be there, it's going to be pointy. I'll show you on this one. See how this is, the point is on this one. you want to make sure you don't cut too much, too low when you do the very front cut. That's just probably as low as I want to go right now. And we're just going to go up and we're going to just chop that out. All right, and then we're going to do each side the same way. Let me get a different. Okay. And then we'll do the back side. I guess some of you saw my beginner set. I'll show you what that is at the end. I got a beginner set ready for everybody. Since I have a pretty good crowd, I just want to show you this real quick. For us farmers, we'll laugh our heads off on this one. I certainly did. I think my brother-in-law Henry should have one of these. It's a mask. That is actually how the cattle look. They always lick their nose, and they always have these whiskers. Believe me, I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of these animals in my lifetime because we raised them, and this is exactly what they look like. Isn't that a cool mask? That has to make somebody smile when you go through the store with one of those on. I just had to print that out. I thought that was funny. Anyway, back to our thing. So we got all 4 sides done, and I already said that to my sister that my brother-in-law should have that when he's going out to the market to buy cattle. All right, and we're going to take our little V tool and we'll go up here and do each side. I sharpened all my tools the other day. How pleasant it is to have a sharp tool. I'm telling you, nothing like it. Well, it looks like we're going to be in this mess for a while yet this year, especially in January. So I will try to get a couple more new projects up. I have one kind of thought out for next week, but this is the one we're going to work on today. Okay, what happened to my other knife? Here it is. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start scooping this out. Okay, I'm just going to start really hacking at this because we have to go quite a ways. Now, if you feel more comfortable here, when we put this thing going across, this isn't the best pencil I ever owned either. You can actually kind of give yourself an idea how far you have to go by making the circle at the top. Okay, this just gives me an idea. So I'm going to go from each side and I'm going to start sweeping it out. This is probably going to be the most toughest part, is hacking all this wood off because you're trying to get to the tassel. If we were just putting the tassel on the side, it's not as much work. But we have time, so I will try to speed it up, but you take your time when you're home. You don't need to rush like I am here. And I'm going to spray it a little bit just to help me along. And what do I spray it with? It's half water and half rubbing alcohol. All right, so you just want to keep hacking this out. There we go. Just keep going. My hand is actually feeling much better lately. It's not completely. I did it 4 weeks ago, and it's much better than it was. I don't quite have all the strength in it, but it is a lot better than it was. So, all right. Yes, I am. I am using my Rough Rider. I do have the other one here somewhere that I put in with the kit is what I use as well. It's this one here. It's the Rough Rider. And that cuts really nice too. If you use this, you can do the same thing. Actually, this cuts a little nicer because the blade's a little shinier. It's like a car. If you take a rag to throw it over a car that you wax, it goes through over real smooth. It's the same idea. Okay, so let's just stop right there. And we're going to mark off the top again. So we're going to go down a little ways. We're just going to make this mark again, okay? I did that for reference to know where to start with this here, okay? So it's just my way of doing it. It might look similar to what the picture is, but there's no guarantee it will look exactly like it. It never does. Some people can do that. I can't do that. And really, handwork stuff, you don't want to duplicate things to death either, because it doesn't give its own character every time you do it. So I'm going around with my little V tool on that line to give me a reference. Alright, if you have questions, I'll be looking at the screen every so often, but remember, I only see 2 or 3 names and it flips again. So, oh, I forgot to tell you, this is not the ornament size. This is the 3.5 inch by 1.5 by 1.5. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that. So if you're doing it, you need 3.5 inches long by 1.5 by 1.5. So, well, we have no snow here now. We only had that one snowstorm a couple weeks ago. We've had a lot of rain. Some power outage on Christmas. I had a little bit of color. And so once we get that done, I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to go all the way around again. Just like so, right in the middle of that V cut. Because we're going to make it a lot deeper. And then start cutting. If it doesn't come free, just go this side and just, you can do it that way too, just do a little cut. So, anyway, we are back out of the lockdown we were in. I don't understand why we went out of it, but the restaurants are opening up again here. I don't think I'm going to any anytime soon. I just don't trust it. I'll take takeout, but I won't go and sit in one. I want to get past January and see where we're at then. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit shorter. Now I'm going to start digging more, like doing that as my final cut. Hello, Rick. Hello, Linda. Thanks for joining me, everybody. We got a good big crowd today. It's nice to see all of you again, or have you pop up. This is probably the hardest part and more time consuming, is getting this tassel down to where you want it. Alright? Okay, and we're going to just trim a little more off. I'm going to look at the top here, just trim a little bit more off here. And yeah, I keep telling everybody better days are coming. Maybe not right away this year, but maybe at the end of the year. I agree with you, Linda. The restaurant thing is a scary thing. I was still going in to get coffee at September Farms up here, but I felt very uncomfortable staying in for any length of time. And I've even given that up for a little while now. I don't think for the next couple weeks I'm going to be doing that. So we make coffee and hot chocolate at home. And we cook at home. And we just stay home. Our church just stopped meeting. We have a few churches here that meet outside. I'll go to that. Our church can't. We just don't have room in the parking lot because it's right in the middle of town, so it's a little tougher for them to do it. But Okay, so you want to take the rough stuff off, all right? So let me just keep going around a little bit. And what I'm trying to do is round it up a little bit, all right? All right, enough of that. So now we're going to bring this down a little bit, that first little piece, and we're just going to kind of round it up to the hat there. I'm going to just take that off a little bit. The reason I'm going sideways, I don't want to dig up into the tassel if I can help it. If you do it this way, you'll probably be putting a couple of lines like right there. I just did one. You don't want to do that. So just take your time and go sideways, and you want to round that off a little bit. All right? Alrighty. Over here, my mother used to make for New Year's Eve early bowl, which actually translates into oil balls, which is actually a Dutch donut. And I asked my sister for the recipe, and I looked at it, I thought, I'll wait till next year. Or if she sends me a package, a pre-package that I just have to mix together, you know, all that. Oh, what I'm working on is this Santa right there. I mean the snowman with the heart. Okay, snowman with a heart. So, all right, the next thing we're going to do, we have that figured out. You're going to have to figure out where the neckline goes. So what we're going to do is go straight across. Usually you're going to go right from here over to here, okay? So you can have it, let me see if it's, yeah, it's a little bit. You can round it up a little bit. So we're going to go down and around like that, okay? And you want it the same height. You want it on the same, thank you, Rick. You want this the same distance if you can. So let's see here. And that's where it's going to go. So we're going to put a little thing here. And let me take a look at this. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to really do a nice big cut right underneath his chin. There. So we're just going to start digging it out. Let's get my other knife. You'll find some knives you'll enjoy more than others. Alright. Now I'm going to take my little V-tool. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. And, oh, I'm sorry. Before we do that, we're going to go up here. And because I did this with the V-tool already, I'm just going to go in and make a deeper cut. Okay? As I make a deeper cut, I'm going to take one swipe this way. And we're just going to dig that out a little bit. Just like so. Alright? And we're going to do the same thing over here. We're just going to go good one, Rick. Yeah, I try to use my tools. You know, you can buy a lot of tools, but really, if I really think about it, I use just a few knives and a couple of gouges, and that's pretty well it. You can get every tool under the sun, but you usually stick with the same ones you like. So we're going to do the back side as well, right here. So, going back to my story about New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, I decided not to make them, and I'll just wait till Ann comes down. Or wait till I go up there and she can make them. I'm not one for the kitchen a whole lot. I like to rather carve than cook. So, yeah. Alright, so we have that done now, right? We're going to round this corner off a little bit, just like so. Just down. Alright? Just like that. Now you're going to take your V-tool, and you're going to go straight across here. Alright? And you're going to follow that line we put on. Alright. Oh, this is a good teaching moment. See this? that didn't free up correctly. See how that rippled? Because this part of the tool went lower than it should have. Okay, and that's what happens if you go underneath how the depth of this. So when you're carving with a V tool, you don't want to go deeper really than what these little wings go on either side. You want to keep like 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch away from it. All right. If you are missing this will be on YouTube in about an hour or so after we're done. So I'm going to make this a little deeper here. Now we're going to just cut this out. All right. I want to thank all you people that are ordering from me. I got another couple of orders already today again. And yeah, it keeps going. So I thank you for that. I just got another box of lumber in December. So it should be good for a little while here before I have to order again. Alright, so you see these two corners right here. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to do like a triangular cut there. And we're just going to kind of round that off a little bit. Just like so. Okay? See, we took that corner off. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're just going to go up a little bit underneath. And I call this little triangular cuts because that comes out really well. Oh, I'm glad this is your first time watching. I think I have a lot of first time people. It's great to have everybody who's new and everybody who came back to watch. Now we're going to round this off just a little bit. We're not doing anything yet with the rest of it. We're just going to kind of shape it up a little bit. Now on this one, I did more of a scoopy look to it. All right. I don't offer the Rough Rider knife. These knives have to be resharpened and reshaped and resharpened. So the letter, if you're going to look on eBay, I think they're $15 or so. The number is R282, I believe it is. I think that I've got that right. Okay, so now I'm going to just trim a little bit off on either side. We're going to figure out where the nose is going to go. So the nose is going to come down, right, a little bit. So we're going just to make a little round. We're going to go around like this, and we're just going to make a little bit. And I like to make the noses a little fatter, the carrot nose a little fat. I always found fat noses, fat eyes makes a cute project. All right, so right here, we're going to go in this way. So let's just tuck that one out first. So you're just going to go in and you're just going to cut that out. And you're going to go in pretty far. All right? Just like so. All right? Now you're going to take this and you're just going to do this little half circle here. Or a quarter circle. A lot of people have asked about the Rough Rider knives. I like them. I use the Murphy knife a lot too. So if you're a beginner, it's not recommended to use a, hang on just a second. My lukewarm hot chocolate now. You know, they can collapse on you because they're not locked in. So that's one thing you have to be a little bit worried about. If you're using the electric wheel that I sell, you know, with the Harbor Freight, you want to be careful with that too. I've had one of these flip close on me, and my hand was out of the way. So usually when I do any sharpening, I keep this portion open just in case it does close. But it's very important if you're just beginning to get a stationary knife, and this is what I mean by a stationary knife. All right, you don't want anything that can collapse or fold in unless it's a lock blade. All right, so let me move some of this out of the way. And this is the one we're working on, folks. Okay, that's the one we're working on. I was going to make one today, but I never got around to doing it. So So let's just bring this in a little bit further. We'll worry about that later. So right here where we have these two lines, we're just going to go straight in. Okay, see how I have the knife right in front of that corner? That's exactly how you want to. You don't want to go this way. You want to go exactly this way. So let's just follow that out a little bit. Okay, and you're going to have to cut it up here. This is the deepest part of your eyeball, is where it meets the nose right there. Okay, there we go. All right, that's one side. I'm gonna have to get his eyeball this up a little higher. You can adjust this a little bit when you're working on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna bring this up and around, and we're gonna tuck this in. All right. I figured I'd get more of a crowd in January since everybody's kind of housebound, and are really housebound now. But yeah, we've had a. Okay, so see how that nose just popped out like that? Okay, that's what we want. Now I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to round this nose just a tiny bit. I don't like it so pointed, but you can make it pointy if you want. I think this one here is slightly pointed. Oh, it is pointed. See that? That one's really pointed. But let me take a look at where to put these eyes, because I may have to recut this a little bit wider so the eyes can get in there. Let me cut that out. There. Let me do this back here so I have a better look at it. Okay. Not always easy to see it up there in front of the camera. All right. I'm going to bring this down around a little bit more, and we're going to just dig this out a tiny bit more. I want that to pop out a little bit more. There we go. All right, that side of the nose is pretty good. And I think, let me go up a little higher with that on that side. Now, when you do that, you don't want to go too deep, because if you have to go in again, you don't want little lines in here. But it can be a little forgiving. All right. I'm not sure what you mean by whoops, I don't know. I almost lost the camera there. I don't know what you mean by layout. I usually have another carving technique that's identical, and that's what I go by. But this time, I sold this one at Christmas. And this is all that I have to go by. I know he's super big, but, you know, this is what I printed out from my printer today. So, let's see if I can show you this way. That's what he looks like. Okay? That's what he looks like. So right now we're working on his nose. We're going to put his eyeballs in and stuff. There is some texturing to do with, hang on just a second here. I got to get this wire out of the way here. There's some texturing to do. Okay. Text me later, Rick. I'm still not understanding what you're asking for. And you're welcome, Jane. All right, I think we got enough room there for the eyes. See how deep that is now? That's what you want, because we're going to be rounding this off a little bit. All right, so we're going to round his face off a little bit more. This will be on YouTube a little bit later, so if you're missing it, it will be there. But I haven't done this style. I've done several styles of Santas, But I'm going to start doing some 3.5-inch stuff now. Maybe some regular Santas, and similar to what we've been doing. And stuff like that. So, alright, so let's round this off a little bit more. Okay, Rick, I'll talk to you later. Thank you. At the end of this, when we're done with this particular piece, the other thing, we're taking all the rough stuff off, okay? That's the other thing we have to do. Take all the rough stuff off. And we're going to come up here. All right. I'll show you some of the texturing on the hat, but I won't show you all of it because it's just very time consuming. And for the sake of time for the video, I try to be cautious of that. I don't want it to be boring. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to round the head off a little bit more. We're going to bring this down a little bit, just like so. Alright, so what we're going to do here, oh, thanks, Linda. We're going to go ahead and put the trim, the brim of the hat on here. So I don't usually write this on anymore when I do this. I've done so many of them, but for the sake of people that are just starting, it's always best to do this because then it makes it pretty even for you, to make sure that you're not cutting off too much on one side, not enough on the other, and to make it even all the way around. Now that doesn't even, yeah, even enough. So I usually take my V-tool again, and if your V-tool's sharp enough, you should be able to go across the grain at the top and against the grain. So I try to go with the grain as much as possible. Oh, thank you, Jack and Jenny. You guys got snow up there in Canada? Just wondering. I thought Ann said you got some snow a few days ago. No snow here. Most of it's gone. It actually got up into the 50s one day. Now it's back in the 40s and 30s. But we'll get hit one or two more times yet this year. Whoops! Don't hit. Number one rule when you do this stuff live: don't hit the camera. Oh, good, no snow. Good. All right. So when you do the brim of this little guy, you're gonna take your knife and you're gonna follow it one more time around. The other reason this is going to do is it becomes like a stop cut for you when you go to paint. Now painting is wow, North Bay, cool. We had a lot of rain. Oh, I think we had like 4 inches in one day, one night. Some water in the barn and stuff. I'm eager to get out in the field and do some fencing and all that. So I want to redo some of the fencing in the one side of the field. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure how I'm going to hold up with that, but I'm not getting any younger for this kind of stuff. But I'll make a go of it anyway. All right. So once you do that, then you want to get rid of this little hard edge that's on the side here. And you want to get rid of all this rough stuff. See this little bit of rough stuff? You want to get rid of that. And you can make it a little deeper there, it's okay. Alright. Alright, so that's pretty well the hat and the brand. And you're going to trim this off a little bit as well, because you don't want any hard edges, like square edges is what I mean by hard edges. You want everything to look nice and round and kind of flowing into each other a little bit. I never do any painting on this stuff, so alright, so let's see how the eyeballs are going to go in here. Let me clean this up back here for a second, where I can sort of see all the lights in the front here. That's alright. Alright, I'll be right back. Hey Justin, I didn't see you sneak in here. Oh, I think he snuck out. Oh, there he is. Okay. Anyway, what we're going to do here first is we're going to figure out from the side of the nose here, you're just going to kind of do a little bit of a cheek. Okay, that's one. And I do these all basically the same, whether they're the elf or this. And then I do a little smile. Alright, that looks kind of long. Hang on. There we go. A little bit higher maybe. Alright, so I take my little V tool and I go up one side of the face here. Oh, there you are, buddy. His mom used to call him little buddy. I think that's what she called you. Anyway, alright. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more. It's a bit too high. We're going to bring this down a little bit more. Round it up a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so right here I'm going to cut in. And I'm going to go from the bottom side up. And just kind of taper this out a little bit. Alright. And you want to round that off a little bit. Alright. Same thing over here. You're just going to make a little bit of a cut there. And up go. Alright. And let's give it a smile. There he is. Alright. Now, again, I'm going to go over here and just trim a little bit of this off. There we go. Now the eyeballs. The eyeballs aren't that difficult to do. Everybody thinks they're difficult. They're not. So I know I'm very limited here because of him being a snowman. But we're going to just go almost to the bottom of the nose and bring up and around. Let me do this back here so I have a better idea where we're going with it. Okay, there we go. So you're going to use a knife. You're not going to use your V-tool with this. You're going to take it, go right on that line, follow that out completely. You're going to go from the inside of the eye, and you're just going to kind of chip that out a little bit. Follow that all the way over. And you're going to get rid of that little hard edge there, that little square edge. And that's how it is. Now right there in the corner, you may just want a little triangular cut to make it look a little deeper than it is. And you can fuss with it a little bit, get it a little more rounded. That's one eyeball. We'll do the next one. I'm going pretty deep. You know, I try to do it one cut at a time. And just take the edge, point of your knife to take that out. Alright. Again, we're going to go right here, right at the edge here, and we're going to just knock a little piece out. Let me see if I can get that a little smoothed out right. I see there's a little bit of an edge there. Hang on just a second. Of course, I don't have my glasses on tonight, so that's not helping me tonight. Alright, so we're just going to take that little hard edge off. There we go. And there's your two eyeballs. Now, here, if I want to make them a little bit bigger and you're not sure, you can always turn your knife this way. Go down just a tad deeper and just make it a little bit wider. And then round that off a little bit. There you go. Alright, so there's the two eyes. Alright, they'll look different when you get them painted. In fact, I might go up a little further again because I see this side is much bigger. Let me see if I can just clean that out a little bit more. Doesn't always work the way I want it to, but yeah, you fix it one way or the other. Alright, so there you go. Alright, so now for the fun part at the bottom. Let's just start rounding it off a little bit. Just right here. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, let's do the sides first. Okay, the back side and the side. Alright, let's draw this on first. Okay, so we're going to have, let me bring this up and around the bottom of the neck here. This might be a little bit deeper again. But he has a scarf on at the same time. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out where the scarf is going to go. So it doesn't go all the way around him because this is covering some of it. So we're going to go from here. We're going to go like this. And from here down and around. Okay. Actually, we're going to put a heart in here. That's not good drawing a heart. I really am not good at it. Let me clean off all this stuff first. Let's just round it off a little bit. You don't want to take too much off because you want to leave some room for all the stuff you have to put on here, plus his hands and stuff. So let's just clean this up a bit here, just so I can draw on here a little bit. All right. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a center, which will be right there. All right. And then we're going to bring it up and around. Okay. The hard part is getting the other side to match. I'm going to measure how far this line is. And I'm going to put it over here. Okay. So that gives me an idea. Let me do it back here because I'm not happy with it. I'll be right back. Just give me a second here to draw this on. Okay. Now, if you want to make sure that you're in the right area here, you can always make sure you put your center line in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just pop this little corner out first of this heart. I'm going to pop that out. Okay? That gives me a good idea where to start. That's a good idea, Rick. I never thought of doing that. Like a template. He was saying to take a folded piece of paper make your heart, cut it out, and put it over top on the corner, and put it on. Yes, it's an excellent idea. Now you tell me that, Rick. I'm only kidding. But that's a good idea. Real good idea. Okay, there's one. Let's do the other one. I'm using my little V tool. All right. Hang on just a second, folks. I'm still working on this heart. Okay. So right here, I'm going to cut this out at the bottom. All right. This is going to be rounded right here. We have to put his arms in yet. So let's do, now we got the heart in here. Let me take all this rough stuff off. You don't want to leave pencil lines on because, folks, if you do, you're going to end up having a problem. I'm going to make it a little bit skinnier over here. There we go. You're going to have a real problem when you go to paint it, especially because mostly he's white, right? The snowman is usually, is white in color, and if you have these little lines everywhere, it is really going to make it tough to do. Okay, so there's our little heart. All right, so what we're going to do from here, we're going to put this his little scarf in is next. So what we're going to do here is take our little V tool, and we're going to take it from the heart, away from the heart. We're going to go on the bottom here, just like so, and we're just going to follow that all the way up to there, okay? We're going to do the same thing over here. All right. Now, I'm going to take my knife here, and I'm going to just make it a little bit deeper underneath. And we're going to round this up to it. All right, we're going to clean that all up. Very good. And same thing over here. This is the scarf, okay? And the scarf, of course, it's a two-piece, right? So this one, we're going to give it a little bit of a look of some fringes on it. So this has to come across, this has to come across this way. So let's just take this way. Okay, and then we're going to take this across right like so. All right. So what I'm going to do with the V tool, I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut this portion out first. Okay. And I'm going to cut this portion out. Now I'm not going to be able to get real close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to undercut a little bit. Okay. And then this one is going underneath, so we're going to just cut that out a little bit. You always have to think a little bit what's on top of what. So we know that this is the center part, right? So what we want to make sure is we take all that rough stuff off. All right, take all that rough stuff off. Let me get a longer knife. Where's that? Sometimes if you have a longer knife, you can get things a little easier. This is the Rough Rider, not the Rough Rider, this is the Murphy knife. And I'll tell you, these Murphy knives that I get sharpened by my buddy, they are wonderful. They are wonderful. Okay. So this is going to be, let's just clean this, let's round this off a little bit for the heart, okay? I know that's going to be a little hard to see, but once you go to paint it, you'll notice a real difference. Alright, so this is going to be the fringy part. What I mean by that, let's go back to the picture. We're doing this part right here, okay? That's what we're working on. Alright, so we got the heart in, we've got the... So how do you get the fringy part in? Well, this is where your little V-tool comes in nicely. Just take your little V-tool and just do little cuts up to that. And you can do them any which way. They don't have to be perfectly in a row. Okay, that's it. That gives you the fringy look. Alright, now what we're going to do here is we have to figure out where his arms are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim some of this rough stuff off because I don't like this rough stuff. Actually, I should just do the whole block before I start. Then I never have to bother with it, but yeah, that's just part of it. And what do I mean by the rough stuff? Well, it's usually the stuff that's left on from the bandsaw from cutting it at a mill. And if you don't take care of it, you're going to end up really upset with the fact that it will take paint a lot darker than the other. Rough stuff will take paint a lot more than the other. So, okay, so now we're going to have him holding the heart. So let's just put his, let's put his arm right here. And we'll do his little mitten right there. And I'm trying to think how that worked. Yeah. And let's bring this out a little further. There we go. And then we'll bring this out. And this goes around the corner here. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to bring this out and around. Let's see if we have that up in the same area. That doesn't have to be exact, but it does help. Then I'd start turning it a little bit, right? And then this comes out over here. Okay, let me take a look at that. Yeah, that's a little thicker. I don't know. Take a look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's leave that where it was. Alright, so we're going to take our little V-tool again. And we're just going to start outlining it. Just very carefully. And I like to have a rounded one. I don't really give it any creases like I do when I do a sleeve of a Santa, but and then I do it inward. Okay, so there's a little bit of a curvature there. All right, now right here, where this corner is, you just want to go in, and you just want to pop it out a bit. Okay, and then you can just round that off a little bit, just like so. Okay, same thing over here. And round that off a little bit. Okay. I'm going to follow this out with a little V-tool, up and around, up to the heart. That arm looks a little bit bigger, so let's just slice it a little bit over. Alright. We're almost, not quite done, but we're almost there. Alright. Now, if you want this a little bit more distinctive, you can. You can bring this V down a little bit further. There we go. Make it a little bit wider. Alright. And Here again, you're just going to take your V-tool and you're going to go around this a little bit, and you're going to just slice that out just a tiny bit. So the arm's kind of sticking out a little bit. And you're going to take a little bit out near the heart too, okay? So you want everything to kind of pop out a little bit. Okay, just like so. And then you want to go back and take care of those hard edges. I'll go around later and go around and clean things up a bit. Alright, so then what you do, oh, we didn't forget, we forgot the back of it. So you want to take this and you just want to follow this all the way up. Okay, we're not done with the back yet either. Here's the other one. Okay. We're going to follow that out again on both sides. You want to cut that out a little bit more so that arm sticks out a little bit further. And right here you're going to make it a little bit deeper right there where the hat and that meets. And I'll clean that up there for a second. Oops. It's going against the grain there. And then same thing here. You're going to go around and you're going to just cut that out a little bit more. Just like so. Alright. And then you're going to round it off a little bit. Alright. Just going to kind of round it off. Take the hard edges off. I'll do the other arm in a second here. Now, the other one that I did, you can just put this is the red one. You can do the same thing and bring down the scarf a lot further, and then just put two little black buttonholes there. And the same thing with the hand. So, or you could have it holding a candy cane. I've done that before. Here's one. I did the candy cane. Okay. This is with a top hat. Okay. But you can do it with a candy cane. There's numerous things you could do. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. Like, you can be creative. You can hold a tree if you want to hold a little Christmas tree. That's up to you. So, let's go back and let's finish up on this side here. Alright, we're going to bring this up and around. We're just going to cut all this out a little bit more, right along the heart. And people say, well, why are you doing Valentine's now? Well, you can't do it the day before. If you're planning to do anything like this, you have to do it several months in advance. I plan to get a lot of carving done this year for next Christmas. And yes, it's 11 months away, or more than that. But that's what you have to do if you want to have enough stuff to sell. You have to start really early. So, you know, we're going to do this one, and I have another idea. Next week we'll get together again, and then I might take a little bit of a break for a week or two, and go from there. So I already cut that, so let me go right alongside of that. That will make that arm pop a little further. And there. And we'll finish up the gloves here in a second. I'll show you how to do that. Alright, but you first have to... This is almost like a three-dimensional carving when you do this, because it's not actually sticking out too far. It's just... It gives you the illusion that it is, right? So... And here we're going to cut this off. We're going to bring this down a little bit more. And that will make that arm stick out a little further. So, yeah, thanks for joining me tonight, folks. It was nice having everybody here. And if you're joining me on YouTube later, thanks for joining me again. I hope you're finding these series fun. And I think we'll be doing that for a good portion of the year. I'm hoping by fall, if things clear up, that we can have some more classes right here, and then I'll switch back to just teach here at the house or at the farm. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. I'm just rounding off the back end. And see, I'm trying to round off this corner here. Yeah, there we go. All right, very good. So let's just round this off a little bit more. All right, and we're going to just take that hard edge off. And we're going to bring this down and around. Get rid of those square edges. And if you're not in a time crunch like I am right now, you just take your time in doing those things. You know, don't rush. It's supposed to be enjoyable. You know, nothing's nicer than a piece of wood that works well, and a nice sharp knife can make it really a pleasurable hobby for sure. All right, so far, so good. Now, right here, I'm going to make that a little more distinct. Okay, there we go. And same thing over here. That looks okay. All right. So the last little thing we've got to do is put his mittens on. Not a big deal. We don't do anything differently. All I do is put one line here, one line here, one line here, one line here. I take the little V-tool and I do a very small cut on one side, and I work towards the edge. Okay, one, and turn it around, and I try to match up those. Okay, same thing over here. You can do a lot of this with a knife, it just takes a little more time. Okay. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. I'll start doing some of the let me just spray it a little bit here. I'm spraying it with my solution. What that does is, thank you, Rick. What it does, it helps soften the wood. Now I got into my iced chocolate milk. All right. So what I want to do is just trim that off a little bit here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take all that rough stuff off. I'm going to round the head up a little bit more when I get offline. I'll shape it up a little better than I have it now. But I'm going to show you a couple of things. Now here, where we just did this, I trim a little bit off where the glove is, so it looks like the glove's going underneath there. Okay, and I do the same thing because it's a cuff, so we just kind of round that off a little bit. The V-tool is a 3.5. 3.5. That's basically all I use. I don't use very many other tools except what you're seeing me work with tonight. Occasionally I'll use some other things, but this is usually what I work with. And I like just having a couple of tools to work with, you know, for the most part. Okay, so there's your mittens, your scarf. All right. Now this can come down a little bit. That looks a little high. So let's just trim this down a little bit. So it looks like it's part of that thing. All right, let's finish up with my V-tool, okay? The V-tool is such a handy little thing because this is what's going to give us all this look here and the hat. Okay, there isn't as much, you don't have a beard or anything to do, which is kind of nice. And you know, what I do is I do it at an angle. So I start towards the edge. All right, and then I just keep going. All right, I'll go right around the corner here. Some can be deeper than others, but I try to keep it pretty uniformed. And then I come back the other way, but I do it towards the head. But you want to be careful you don't poke the guy in the in the face or in the eyeball. That's not a smart thing to do. All right, so all right. So when I get up here, I keep going. And then when you do the outside and the inside, you just want to mesh them together, okay? Go in different directions a little bit. See, I go in different... Oh, yes. Georgianne, that will work. I just had to go to a little bit smaller, because I was getting rid of the dockyards. They were getting too expensive. And they were getting a little longer, where this one you can really choke up on it well. The one you have is fine. They're all the same. The only difference is the wings are a little bit different. All right, the wings, what I mean, both sides. It's if you have a 4.5, it's going to be a little bit. The side is going to be a tad longer on either side. Hello, Freeze, or Mr. Hans. All right, and so that's what, you know, they'll all work. You can make it as deep, but I like these little ones. They work out really, really well. Now I got to get rid of that hard edge for a second and show you. I'll show you how to do the tassel. But I usually do the outside first, because if you do the outside first and then come around and do the inside and try not to hit the face, it works out pretty well. So, alright, now we're going to go around and we're going to just kind of mesh those two together. Okay, so you have the idea of how that's done. And that's how you do it all the way around. Let me share with you how to do the top. Let me make sure we have that all done. Round it off the way I want it, and you want to get rid of that rough stuff at the top. You're welcome, Georgianne. You're welcome. Alright, so take the same V-tool, or whatever V-tool, and you do it you don't go straight up and down, you go at an angle. And I usually go all the way around, and you want to be careful doing it this way, because you can hit the hat. Just be very, if it doesn't come out clean, you can always take your knife and clean it out if they don't come out free. But, so I go one side, right? This is a little different. So then I flip it up, right side up, and I continue in the same angle, but I just go towards the top. And I keep going in a circle. And then when you get that row done, you do another one until you come to the top of it, which will look like a spiral. Whoops, don't hit the camera. That doesn't help me. Okay. Hello, Harry. And Lance. And when I'm done here, I'm going to hurry up and show you one other thing that I added to my arsenal of stuff. So if you're a beginner, you want to hang in there and watch the end. Okay, so you just keep going. till you get to the middle. We're getting there. Alright, there's our little spiral. And that's our little Santa, our snowman today. And I hope you enjoyed this piece. Let me just share with you some of the painting with this. I love doing the painting on these when the little white dots add a lot to it. You can either make it red, but because I have a red heart, I made it into a blue one. Okay, so it's blue with dots, and dots blue on the cuffs, and then light blue, okay, for the rest of it. Alright, and dark blue for the hat. Let me see if I can just show it to you this way. It's easier. Alright, so, whoops. Oh, I don't want to do that. How do I switch that? Okay, guys. I'll be back.